As I said, I'm back, folks. Moving on to number 3, and it is Granny's Pet Plan. Let's begin. The episode begins where Becky, Violet, Priscilla, Bob, and are playing jump rope until Scoops Bing, on the other hand, interrupts them, telling them Granny May is selling I forgot. That's one of the times I've seen the episode. They're selling goods for pets, I think. And on the other hand, Becky, on the other hand, suspects something about Granny's up to something. So, Granny May is somehow in her old act again, being an old lady. So she had no choice but to sell scars for pets, including Violet's cat Priscilla, Scoops' pig Orville, Oliver, and Becky's pet monkey Bob. Soon Bob has one of the scars that he has on his neck, and somehow, on the other hand, Violet, on the other hand, has a lucky coin, and she wishes on it if Priscilla had a great accessory on her, and Granny May, on the other hand, gives her one. Back home, Becky, Violet, and Bob play Pretty Princess until Tim Boxford comes in and lets her know that Violet has to go home. On the other hand of town, Granny May, on the other hand, unleashes her mind-controlled pet plan all around the city, including Becky's, Scoops's, and Violet's pets were under her control as well. Violet's cat Priscilla steals Violet's lucky coin. Oliver Scoops' pig takes his camera, and Bob, on the other hand, takes Becky's crown, including the rest of the animals of the city. Then, Granny May instructs them, presses a button, and gives them all of their stolen possessions to her, to make sure everyone misplaced them in the city. Back home next morning, Becky tries to find her crown, but it's missing. Tim Boxford, on the other hand, tells him that where she last found it. On the other hand, Bob, back in bed, back to her normal self, wakes up, and Becky, on the other hand, suspects something wrong. She thinks that Granny May has not turned good. She has a little suspicion what's going on with her. So, on the other hand, Becky turns on the Wordgirl and finds out what's going on with everyone's misplaced things. Until she realizes back in the park, Violet tells Becky she lost her missing coin, and somehow Becky tells Violet she lost her missing crown. And somehow Granny May misheard Violet. She thinks she stole all her things in the city, and which somehow accuses Violet in the process. This somehow concerns Becky at the time, and the rest of the townsfolk were getting on Violet, on the other hand, which somehow everyone is pretty much grumbling on her, on the other hand. On the other side of town, Granny May escapes, leaving Violet in an accused situation. However, Wordgirl and Huggy zoom over to Granny May's house to see everything is normal, but no evidence. On the other hand, back in her home, Becky tries to sleep at night, but she can't. But she is really worried about her best friend Violet, and Bob trying to sleep through it, as well. Tim, on the other hand, takes Bob's scarf and puts it around him. Then somehow ends up getting the mind control on him, which is somehow Wordgirl suspects Becky, Granny May, is using mind control on the scarves that she gave all around the city. On the other hand, she then follows the animals and Tim to the house of Granny May, where Granny May all the time was stealing all the people's possessions and giving it to her. On the other end, Wordgirl and Huggy, and somehow Wordgirl suspected it was Granny May all along, that she was stealing all the possessions from all the city. Then Granny May presses a button on her animal mind control device on the animals to take down Wordgirl and to prevent her from deactivating the device. Wordgirl slammed down to the ground, and Granny May fallen down to the ground. Then, the two of them try to fight each other to get the device. But, who else can save the day is Granny May's cat, Curl Mustard. She then deactivates the device, and if all the animals are free, scoops his Pegasus off of Wordgirl. Granny May scolds Wordgirl for accusing her best friend that she is the one who committed the crime, and Bob, on the other hand, finds Becky's crown, and Granny May is then hauled to jail. Back home, Becky is apologizing to Violet that she was accused for stealing it in the first place. And she decides never again to allow her getting hurt in a situation like this. Scoops, on the other hand, climbs up and talks to Becky and Violet and gives her a photo. And at the end of the day is saved, and somehow all things went back to normal. That's about it, folks. So, let's talk about some things about this episode. First, this is also the first episode that Granny May here uses her mind control device besides Mr. Big. Second, this was also the second episode where Becky's friend Violet was accused of something that she wasn't capable of. Third, I think this one was also a pretty good episode because this one included, and one of the scenes in the episode had the floor dance of all the animals dancing, which was pretty cool. Check that episode again if you want to see it. Anyway, that's all I can say. Jared Paulson signing off and moving on to number 2, and it's Kid Math. For next time. Thank you for all listening. Thank you, and good day. Sorry about that, folks. I mean, Wordgirl scolded Granny May for accusing Violet for stealing, and her committing the crime, not Violet. I meant to say that. Anyway, good day, and moving on to number 3. Good day, everyone.